Yo, what's good YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoot, back with the CPC, the Continental Pokemon Championship, and we have our semifinals match. If you've been following the league, then I uploaded the quarterfinals match a week ago, and now I'm uploading the semifinals match where we're facing off against Styx from the Token Minorities and his Ohio State Sawsbuckeyes. We played earlier in the season, and the game was tainted by RNG. I talked to my man Evan. We were discussing, game times and stuff for the semifinals, and um, he told me, to have fun, good luck, all that good stuff, and said he hopes the game is not tainted by hacks like it was the first time. And my first thought was, I wish you didn't say that, man. I wish you didn't say that, dude, because now I know the game will be tainted. Hopefully, whatever happens, we can overcome it, though. So, Styx had made some trades prior to our match, and they were active for our match. So he has the same squad as he did back in week 6 when we played. And now here we are facing off again in a rematch. We were able to win our rematch versus Risepool last week in a very solid game, and hopefully we can just have another solid game here, win or lose. We have accomplished what we wanted, CPC playoffs after a 1-9 season, the prior season, and it's a win already for us. It looks better on us than last season did. Unfortunately, though, the end goal is a little bit further, one step further beyond semifinals to the finals, and not only getting there, but grabbing a W. So we've got to bring our A game, got to bring our A prep. So let's talk about the squads a little bit. He's got Tapu Koko, Mega Charizard X, Tangrowth, Skarmory, Swampert, Alolan Raichu, the Uxie, Gengar, Nidoking, and the Zoroark, where his Z-move users are Tapu Koko and his Alolan Raichu. So last time we played, he did not bring Charizard. I don't expect that to be the case twice. Charizard is a really easy Pokemon to use. There are creative sets out there, obviously, in every Pokemon there is, but Charizard is a Pokemon that you don't ever have to get creative with. You can run the same set every week and it will produce results. Mega Charizard X is a top 5 Mega, top 5 Mon outside of the top 5 staples, in my opinion, and he's got really good support for the Pokemon. He's got Tapu Koko, which not only lures in grass types for Charizard, but it really breaks down bulky waters for it. Same thing for Alolan Raichu, the combination, the electric terrain, it's really nice. So yeah, Tapu Koko being a Z-move user, could be Twinkle Tackle, Guardian of Alola, all kinds of different things there. Tangrowth is a really solid ground type switch in for the both of them, Tapu Koko and Mega Charizard X. And to go even as further, it's a good switch in for ground types that Alolan Raichu, Gengar, and Nidoking don't like either. Really solid Pokemon, and again switches in on electric types that Skarmory doesn't like. So teams that want to abuse Styx's terrain versus him, they have to deal with things like Nidoking, Swampert, Tangrowth, and even the Mega Charizard X, all of which are resistant or immune to electric type moves. Last time he brought a Skarmory with Hazard Stack. I don't know if he'll bring that same Hazard Stack in team, but I do expect the top 5 mons to come: Tapu Koko, Charizard X, Tangrowth, Skarmory, and the Swampert. I do expect those 5 Pokemon to come 100%. And then the last Pokemon could be something like Alolan Raichu, which he brought in the first game. Uxie, which could be a really nice defensive Pokemon for him in this matchup. Eats up hits from Mega Sceptile and Tornadus Incarnate, things like that. Depending on its set, could even take hits from Mamoswine as well. So that's a mon that could come. And Gengar came last time. So last time he didn't bring the Zard, like I mentioned, and he brought Alolan Raichu and Gengar, plus the other 4 up there with the Zard right now. So I kept that in the back of my mind during prep, but I tried to approach this match as if, how can I word this? As if, I didn't think about the previous game. I tried to approach this game with a whole fresh new manner, things like that. and I came up with a whole different game plan. Well, to an extent. Well, I still have a little bit of Trick Room essence here, and I still have pretty much the same Greninja, just a little bit of my EVs are different. So yeah, definitely got some different things going on here, but still got a little bit of the same going on. So first of all, let's talk about our entire squad real quick. We got Clefable, Mamoswine, Greninja, Azu, Bronzong, Snorlax, Emboar, Rotom, Tornadus Incarnate, Oricorio, and the Mega Sceptile. First off, I've brought a whole new look onto Oricorio from other CPC coaches, CPC viewers, anybody like that, and my opponents fully expect, they're fully prepping for Oricorio now. They can't leave that thing unchecked or it becomes a nuisance, a huge nuisance. So, Rospool, when we got into our battle, first thing he said, well, after he said good luck and have fun and all that good stuff, he said no Oricorio. I could have said the same about Mew, but I can understand why he didn't bring it. I hope he can understand why I didn't bring Oricorio. Same thing here. I'm not bringing Oricorio. And again, it relates back to, how much my opponent will prep for that. See, Oricorio's did some nasty things this season, and I expect, people to really expect Oricorio to come, especially here in the playoff matches. It's such a reliable Pokemon. Same thing for Clefable and Mamoswine. They've been so reliable all season. They've put in the work. Everything that they've gotten, they've deserved. So yeah, I brought, like I mentioned, a whole different approach to this matchup. My Z-move users are Emboar and Tornadus Incarnate. We're bringing Tornadus Incarnate in this matchup, and I believe we can just go ahead and dive deeper into the team builder. We'll jump into individual sets in just a second. I want to talk about the gist of the squad here. The idea is so that Charizard can never set up, and if it does, then we have ways around that as well. And then the next major idea is to weaken the Tangrowth, poison it, put it on a timer. Eliminate it with Tornadus. Say he makes an over prediction, stays in, and gets blown back or something. Perhaps I can catch something off guard with my Rotom. Once Skarmory's gone, then I'm really free to set up a Trick Room with my Bronzong, explode on something, and bring in my Snorlax. Put in the work with Snorlax, and then let Mega Sceptile finish up the job at the end of the day. That's the idea behind everything. And yeah, we can hop into individual sets and see how exactly I'm going to combat everything that he could potentially bring versus me. So let's go ahead and dive into it and start off with Greninja here. Alright, so this is our first Pokemon we came up with. A little bit different from the last time we brought it. Last time we were only speed creeping a max speed Charizard. This time we went a little bit more in depth with our speed creeps. So Greninja, the fastest Pokemon on my opponent's squad that I can outpace is his Gengar. Tapu Koko being the next one up. Gengar and Alolan Raichu both set at 350 speed. So Greninja can speed creep that at 352. And I expected his Tapu Koko to speed creep my Greninja, speed creeping his Gengar or Alolan Raichu, which would put him at 353. So what I decided to do was set my Greninja and my Mega Sceptile at 360. Reason being for 360 is if my opponent decided to go with Adamant or Modest Koko, knowing that he could still outpace my Greninja, that would be outpacing his Gengar, is because Modest maxes out at 359. So that little bit of extra speed investment there doesn't hurt me too bad, and allows me to outpace a max speed Modest Tapu Koko. I don't expect him to bring max speed Modest Koko, but I do expect him to bring, speed creeping a Greninja that's speed creeping a Gengar. And my Greninja and my Mega Sceptile will both outpace that, sitting at 360 speed. My Greninja has max HP and a little bit of defense investment. This allows me to take hits from Swampert pretty comfortably. I can taunt that thing, I can Toxic it. If he switches in his Tangrowth hard on me, I can Toxic it, so on and so forth. If he leads off, this is one of my designated leads. If he leads off with his Koko, and I don't necessarily want to, take an attack right off the bat. If he does outpace me, I do want to be able to throw off a surf, torrent boosted surfs, if he goes for like wild charge or thunderbolt or something like that. I can throw off a toxic though as well, and if I outpace him, then on the following turn I will have my torrent boosted surfs anyway, and I can fire off some powerful surfs there as well. However, the idea with this is to prevent rocks from Skarmory, prevent rocks from Swampert, prevent hazard stacks, so on and so forth, and at the same time be able to toxic things like Swampert and the Tangrowth. Then I've got Surf and Dark Pulse to hit his entire squad for at least neutral damage. And Dark Pulse is really nice versus the Alolan Raichu. It hits harder versus Tangrowth, I suppose. It's still bouncing off, but whatever. and it hits the Gengar, the Alolan Raichu, and the Uxie pretty hard. Dark Pulse does. And then Surf pretty much for the rest of the squad. I can taunt Charizard, prevent it from setting up. It can't use me as setup fodder or anything like that, which is really nice for me. And I guess that's about it for Greninja. So next up we have Bronzong. So let's go ahead and hop into that and see what it's about. Alright, so Bronzong, kind of similar to the last one we brought, a little bit different, but kind of similar. We've got the heat proof Bronzong there, so that, you know, if Charizard tried to Dragon Dance in front of us, it doesn't necessarily scare us out. But if it was to try to Dragon Dance in front of us as we went for Trick Room, that would put us in an okay position. The following turn we can click Earthquake, potentially survive a +1 Flare Blitz or Fire Punch, potentially, not guaranteed, but potentially. And I could get off big Earthquake damage or explode on him or something. It could be really nice versus that. Earthquake hits the Tapu Koko, Alolan Raichu, Gengar, Nidoking. So pretty good lot of his squad there. Explosion will hit the rest. Obviously, I'm hard-walled by Skarmory, but I'm hoping the rest of my squad can deal with Skarmory pretty well. I do have some decent lures on my squad to get rid of Skarmory. Open up holes for Mega Sceptile and Snorlax, hopefully. That's the idea. And we got Mental Herb. Mental Herb is there because Skarmory could taunt us, but at the same time, Tapu Koko could taunt us. And this could put us in a decent position to bypass taunt and things like that. Initially, I had max attack, but I realized that, you know, with this investment, I can take one Flare Blitz from Charizard unboosted pretty comfortably, and Tapu Koko on the physical or special spectrum can't do much to us. Thunderbolts bounce off, Dazzling Gleam or Twinkle Tackle bounce off. Thunderbolt into Gigavolt Havoc is like a roll in his favor, depending on his set, timid or modest, things like that. But yeah, this is a pretty cool set. Once Skarmory goes down, I get the much needed chip on the rest of his squad. I can eventually set up a Trick Room and just go boom with Bronzong, and then bring in my Snorlax and let Snorlax put in the work. So let's talk about Snorlax a little bit. Alright, so here with Snorlax, we have our boy Fat Boy here with the Expert Belt and the Thick Fat ability. So Thick Fat doesn't do much for us outside of help us semi-check Charizard. So a non-boosted Charizard can't 2-hit KO us with 40 EVs in defense. However, if he's like +1 or +2, then he will be able to run through us. Fortunately for us, though, we do have the Facade. This allows us to, if he was to get like a Thunderbolt Para or a Sludge Bomb Poison or a Burn even, then Facade, you know, we're not necessarily any kind of fodder for anything. Facade still puts in the work. Hopefully we can avoid any kind of status, just for longevity, so that we can make the most out of the Snorlax set. We are Adamant max attack. Actually, we're Brave max attack. And with the terrain boost, Thunder Punch can potentially 2-hit KO Skarmory. If he is more Spadef invested to try to take on Tornadus or Mega Sceptile or something like that, then Thunder Punch might be able to grab a 2-hit KO there, and that would be awesome after Stealth Rocks, that is. And we've got Pursuit on here so that we can, you know, Pursuit Trap Gengar, Uxie, things like that. I don't necessarily, they could definitely stay in, especially Gengar could be like a Will-O-Wisp sub, disable, or some weird shenanigans. Could be very annoying. In the case that we ever get matched up outside of Trick Room, then I don't want to even chance being paralyzed, so I would hard switch out, and go accordingly from there. But if I do have the Trick Room up and I got the terrain up, then I might just go for the Thunder Punch. Obviously, Earthquake will bop it too. So it just depends on, what I've noticed, what I've scouted throughout the match, things like that. Earthquake hits Gengar, Nidoking, Alolan Raichu, Tapu Koko, all for super effective damage. Thunder Punch hits the Skarmory for super effective damage, which is really nice for me. Facade is able to 2-hit KO Swampert with Adamant Max Attack, depending on his investment, especially if I have a status, if I'm induced with a status or something like that. And the Expert Belt allows me to just get a little bit extra power behind all of my attacks, if they are super effective. So with 40 EVs in defense and 216 EVs in special defense, I can comfortably avoid 2-hit KOs from Charizard, Tapu Koko, Gengar, so on and so forth. So that's the idea behind my spread, and just max attack so that I can do the most damage possible, and hopefully under Trick Room get some work done. Anyways, that's going to be it for Snorlax, and we can hop into Rotom now. Alright, so this bad boy's got Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Pain Split, and Defog. Pain Split is there so that if we're wore down or something, we can always Pain Split up versus things like Skarmory, Swampert, things like that. We've got quite a bit of HP investment, almost max, and we've got a defense boosting nature with 56 EVs there, and then 176 EVs in defense, or special defense, excuse me. This allows us to take on Tapu Koko, and Alolan Raichu pretty comfortably. Allows us to take on Nidoking as well, unless he's like Shadow Ball, which he could be, specifically for Bronzong. So that's something I got to watch out for in the match, things like that. Volt Switch gives us momentum, can wear down Skarmory. Shadow Ball is there because he does have a ground immunity, and this thing will also do a significant amount of damage to things like Uxie, Alolan Raichu, and Gengar upon switching. If they tried to switch in, I don't see Gengar trying to switch into Rotom Ghost or anything like that, but it could happen. And then we've got 36 speed EVs to avoid speed creeps and to potentially outpace the slower mons, always 100% of the time. So yeah, this is kind of like a pivot kind of mon, and is our main form of hazard removal. So if my opponent's able to hazard stack again, say he's able to get a Skarm in on my Bronzong and he starts hazard stacking once again like he did in our last game, I do want those to be gone, completely gone, bye-bye. And I would like to defog those away. So that's the reason for the Rotom set. I debated Oricorio in this slot. I debated Mamoswine in this spot. Not necessarily this spot, obviously it would have been at the beginning of the team builder. But yeah, the 5th Mon was really, really tough. And I thought Greninja, Bronzong, Snorlax, Tornadus, Incarnate, and the Mega Sceptile were, half to brings. And then my last Mon could have been Mamoswine, Oricorio, or the Rotom. And there was a few other things I was considering as well, such as bringing an Embor again, another Trick Room Embor team. Ultimately decided that Scrotum would take the spot here, and with leftovers and my special defense and HP investment, like I mentioned, I can stay in on Swampert. I debated running Hidden Power Grass over Pain Split just so that I could weaken Swampert, but then I was like, well, what if he doesn't even bring Swampert and he brings, and I would rather get, that chip damage off on something like Tangrowth. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll run Toxic. But then I was like, well, what if I'm able to Pain Split up on Skarmory, get a lot of health back, and that saved me from getting swept by something like Tapu Koko and the Alolan Raichu under the terrain with the Surge Surfing ability or whatever it is. So yeah, that was the idea behind Scrotum, and that's going to be it, and we can move on into Gypsy or Tornadus Incarnate. Alright, and we've got Taunt, Hurricane, Heat Wave, and Tailwind on this set with the Flying EMZ. So I thought about running the Fire EMZ so that I could always just click Hurricane into Inferno Overdrive and knock out the Skarmory, or after Stealth Rocks, always knock out a Skarmory. But then I decided that, getting huge damage on something like Swampert, or just blowing back Tangrowth, not having to risk Hurricane, or even Hurricane into something like Supersonic Sky Strike versus the Uxie would be really nice. Again, we have Taunt on here so that Megazard can never use this for setup fodder, try to dodge a Hurricane and Dragon Dance up or something like that. We don't want that to happen. We just want to taunt that bad boy. Prevent Skarmory from getting hazards up. Prevents Nidoking from getting hazards up. Prevents Uxie from doing any kind of like Calm Mind or throwing off thunder waves or any kind of weird shenanigans like that, or stealth rocks even. And just really nice overall to be able to taunt things and then click Hurricane, spam Hurricane into Supersonic Sky Strike. And like I mentioned, Heat Wave is there for Skarmory, but it also hits Tapu Koko and Alolan Raichu just a little bit harder than Hurricane does upon switch in. And then last but not least, we have Tailwind, and we could use this as Z Tailwind, but more than likely going to be throwing off the Supersonic Sky Strike for the Hurricane, just to get that damage off. And Tailwind, it is Prankster boosted, so that's really nice. If he was to get a Dragon Dance up with Charizard, we could sack something, bring in the Tornadus, and click Tailwind. If he was to go for another Dragon Dance while we click Tailwind, thinking he would survive any one hit, and then the following turn we can throw off our Z move, and we will outpace underneath Tailwind, thanks to being naturally faster than a Charizard X, as well as being ×2 speed, just like 2 Dragon Dances would give. And we do have the Prankster ability, like I mentioned, so Tailwind has priority. If it looks like Charizard's about to sweep me, then I can save myself with Tailwind. Bring in something like Mega Sceptile, +2 speed will outpace a Dragon Dance Charizard and knock it out with the Dragon Pulse. So, what speed am I setting at for my Tornadus Incarnate? You're looking down there at a Timid Nature with 116 EVs in speed. That sets me at 315. And the reason being for that is I felt like if he was to bring Oricorio and Charizard and mons like that, and he wasn't trying to outpace, first of all, if he brought like Alolan Raichu, Tapu Koko, and he wasn't trying to outpace Tornadus, he was trying to outpace my next fastest mon, which ends up being my Oricorio. And like I mentioned, the league has to respect that, has to, prep for that. I felt like he would be speed creeping Oricorio, meaning Oricorio tops out at 313 speed. I felt like Gengar, Charizard, all those mons, if he brings them, we'll set at 314 speed, or expect my Oricorio to be speed creeping something like Nidoking, and they would be speed creeping, Oricorio speed creeping a Nidoking. However, my Tornadus Incarnate goes one step further, and is speed creeping Charizard X and Gengar that would be speed creeping my Oricorio, that might be speed creeping their Nidoking or their Charizard, whatever it may be. My Tornadus Incarnate sets at 315 speed, and with that and 140 EVs in special attack is all the attack investment I needed to be able to 2-hit KO Skarmory with Heat Wave after Stealth Rocks, and so that Hurricane blows something back. I was able to run 248 HP EVs, which makes me extremely bulky, and I could potentially live a hit when my opponent does not expect that. It could be really, really nice and come in clutch. But yeah, that's going to be it for Tornadus, and we can move into our Mega Sceptile last but not least. Alright, so last but not least, like I mentioned, we've got Mega Sceptile here. With the Lightning Rod ability, we're immune to electric attacks from Pokemon such as Tapu Koko and Alolan Raichu. Could potentially use that to our advantage, get a nice special attack boost there, and then we would really, really wreak havoc upon Styx's team. Mega Sceptile has such a great matchup versus him, especially like I mentioned, if I can poison the Tangrowth and then whittle it down throughout the match to the point of being in range of a 2-hit KO from Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse actually does more than Hidden Power Fire. Hidden Power Fire is literally only here for the Skarmory. We were able to run a Modest Nature. Again, even a Modest Nature would outpace a Tapu Koko that would be speed creeping at Greninja. And we were able to run Modest last time we played, but this time we took it a little bit further once again, and we set Sceptile at the same speed as Greninja, expecting his Tapu Koko to be speed creeping a Greninja that is speed creeping a Gengar. And with our Greninja and Mega Sceptile here, we are speed creeping that. Also outpaces a Modest max speed Tapu Koko, sits at 360 speed. And I felt 100% confident in doing this. I felt like when I played Rise Pool, I prepped to the best of my ability, and I was able to let my prep carry me through that match. The speed creeps, the HP investment, and all that stuff. I let my prep carry me through that match, and I felt like just doing the same for this match. And we've got a nice little set here We've got Energy Ball over Giga Drain or Leaf Storm. Over Giga Drain because we don't really get enough health back from any of his mons to warrant going for Giga Drain and potentially missing out on a knockout. And over Leaf Storm because this is like a late game cleanup, so we definitely don't want to be lowering our special attack by spamming Leaf Storm. So Energy Ball was the best mid ground move, and overall just better. It can 2-hit KO things like Niddle King, whereas Dragon Pulse potentially could not. And Dragon Pulse hits things like Gengar significantly harder than Energy Ball. Blows things back like, well, first of all, Energy Ball blows Swampert back. I don't expect him to be a Rendo Berry because I have a lot of ways to pop that on my squad. So I feel like Leftovers was way better for him. I could be Grass Knot Torn, Grass Knot Grin. I could have Hidden Power Grass on Rotom like I almost did. So yeah, just having Energy Ball and Dragon Pulse really blows back his squad. Dragon Pulse mainly there for the Charizard, but like I mentioned, it blows things back like Gengar and could put us in a better position to just be able to net those 1-hit KOs or guaranteed 2-hit KOs. And like I mentioned, Hidden Power Fire specifically there for the Skarmory, and then Agility is our last move. Reason being for Agility, I know I do have Tailwind, and I have ways to check the electric terrain and stuff like that, but I felt like if he was, say my opponent was, say he brought Tapu Koko and he was max speed, and I knew he was going to sack something off and then bring in Tapu Koko to revenge kill me because we've already established that his Koko is faster than my Mega Sceptile, then I could click Agility on his sack, knock out what he was trying to sack, or if it just dies to hazards or something like that, I still get my Agility up. Then he brings in the Koko and I outpace. Same thing if I know he's going to try to set up his terrain. Say he's got Charizard, Koko, and Alolan Raichu left, and he's got his Charizard in, and he knows he's going to get bopped by the Dragon Pulse. So what he's going to do is he's going to go into his Koko to set up the terrain, and as he does that, I can click Agility because the terrain is the only way, his only win condition, basically. I have to Agility up as he brings on his terrain. Then I can knock out the Koko. He brings in a Alolan Raichu to try to knock me out, but again, I outpace that as well thanks to my Agility. I actually have quite a bit of HP investment as well. I thought about going a little bit less special attack investment and more HP investment, but I really liked the OKOs and 2-hit KOs that modest max special attack provides, and ultimately decided this was the set that I was going to run with. So yeah, that's going to be that. All of the prep here, and we can hop into the replay and see how the battle went. So we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are with the replay, and my opponent chooses to bring the Tapu Koko, Tangrowth, Skarmory, Uxie, Swampert, and the Mega Charizard X, all of which was pretty much expected. I did think the Uxie could go, as an Alolan Raichu or a Gengar again, or potentially even the Zoroark to try to play some mind games. Those were the big options there, the 4 other options that I thought could, go there in the 6th spot. I definitely expected the Tapu Koko, Tangrowth, Skarmory, Swampert, and the Mega Charizard X. Really nice squad. But we've came prepared. So we're going to lead off with the Greninja. It's our designated lead. It does have 2 potential Stuff Rockers here. Well, 3 actually, all of which Greninja matches up well against. So, in my prep, I talked about how his Tapu Koko would be speed creeping a Greninja, speed creeping a Gengar, and I could potentially be faster than him here. So what I'm going to do is throw off a Toxic, expecting that I could potentially be faster, and I miss. So if you guys remember what happened on turn 1 last time we played, same thing. I missed the Toxic, and he's going to be able to get a huge Volt Switch off here, and Tapu Koko goes unscathed. So that's really unfortunate. He brings in his Tangrowth here, and I'm going to go for the Toxic on it as he goes for the knockoff. Gets rid of my item and knocks me out simultaneously there. My item was already popped, which Focus Sash, that was established already. So a little bit unfortunate. Tapu Koko and Tangrowth should be poisoned at this point in the match. And what I can do here is just go into my Tornadus and see what he wants to do. And he does go out into his Uxie as I missed the Heat Wave. So I expected his Skarmory to come in. I wanted to go ahead and be able to 2-hit KO that thing. and I missed the Uxie here, and that sucks. So on 3 turns, I've missed 2 attacks. So I'm 1 of 3 right now for landing my attacks. And this game, I know Heat Wave would have bounced off Uxie. Uxie's got insane special defense, and this is unboosted, non-max special attack or anything like that. So I knew it wasn't going to be doing much, but it would have gave me a little bit of information on the Uxie. So I'm going to taunt it, prevent it from doing anything weird here, as he does switch out into the Koko, expecting my taunt. And I'm just going to go into my Rotom, as his Volt Switch will bounce off. It didn't even do 25%, as he brings in his Charizard here. So I'm going to go hard into my Snorlax, as my opponent goes hard for the Flare Blitz, and he gets the burn. So as if this game was not bad enough already, my opponent is being blessed with a lot of luck. Styx definitely needs luck to defeat me. He needs those misses and those burns. So I just go for Facade here, expecting my opponent to switch out, and I'm actually going to be able to 2-hit KO Swampert here, which is phenomenal actually. So I'm just going to go for that. My opponent pulls a switch into Skarmory as I go into Rotom. So expecting his Skarmory to come out, I pulled the switch out into Rotom. I would have also lived like an Earthquake, or, I mean, I would have obviously dodged the Earthquake here. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. And what I can do is just Volt Switch out as he goes back into his Tapu Koko. And I'm not going to get a boost for the Electric Terrain because I'm a Levitate month, so I don't get the boost there. I go into my Bronzong here. I see this as a perfect time to show off my Mental Herb and get up my Stealth Rocks as my opponent goes for the taunt there. And now he's going to Volt Switch into Skarmory as I just go for the Boom. The reason I go for the Boom is so that, you know, Skarmory can't come in and set up its own hazards, and it can't come in and defog freely. So I force in the Swampert here. He brings it back in. I don't really have another play. Besides going hard into my Mega Sceptile on his Protect. I knew he was going to try to get some more leftovers back, so I go hard into my Mega Sceptile as he's going to go into his Tangrowth now. And I'm going to fire off an Energy Ball, and that damage right there is very, very valuable. I could actually 2-hit KO him here and avoid a 2-hit KO from Sludge Bomb, but it was a little bit too risky, and I pull a hard switch out to my Tornadus as he gets the Sludge Bomb poison. So, you know, this is how the game's going. I understand that. I'm going to go for my Z move here, as I didn't want to miss a Hurricane. I didn't want to play around with anything. I just want to go straight for my Z move and knock something out. Not a 6-0. Despite the RNG, he definitely could not 6-0 me. And yeah, I'm going to pull another switch out to my Rotom as he brings in the Koko. And now he brings in his Zard, and I know he's going to go for Dragon Dance. So what I'm going to do is go hard into my Snorlax, and he's forced to attack me here because if he lets me get a burn boosted Facade off, then I will be able to knock him out from this range, potentially. Should be able to anyway. So now I'm forced to go out into my Tornadus, and I get up a Tailwind. And this is going to allow me to knock out the Zard, or something, basically. And he's going to go into his Skarmory as I get the Dragon Pulse damage off. Dragon Pulse into Dragon Pulse probably knocks him out here. I am going to go for the Hidden Power Fire, though, just in case. As he lets the Skarmory go down. And now I'm in a position to where I have to kind of, you know, gauge what I'm going to do here. And I felt like this was my best case scenario, was I get a high roll there, or he over-predicted. But he did not. Had I went into my Rotom and just tried to Volt Switch out, or just whittled this thing down an extra turn or something like that, or if I brought in my Rotom and tried to Volt Switch into my Mega Sceptile as he went for another Sludge Bomb or a Hidden Power Ice or a knockoff, then I could, you know, it would have been really tough. I guess I could have tried to stretch out the game, but I really expected Styx to understand that I could have did that to the game there. I could have went out to my Rotom and had a slow Volt Switch. It would have been fast versus a Tangrowth, but had he switched or something like that, it would have been really tough to win regardless, as I would need Rotom at full to take on Uxie, and I would need Mega Sceptile. So the combination of Mega Sceptile and Uxie, the combination of Mega Sceptile and Rotom kind of lose to Uxie at this point anyway. But yeah, I'm going to be able to take down the Tangrowth there with my Mega Sceptile. And then Rotom goes down to the Charizard, and we end up getting a 2-0 loss here. And yeah, that, I mean, kind of figured. something had to slow me down. You know what I'm saying? Something had to slow me down, or else, you know, they would have had to rename the CPC Zamcrow's League or something like that. Anyways, that's going to be that. I can't say it was a good game or anything like that, because it definitely was not. I should have, you know, blown this guy back, but it is what it is. Sometimes Pokemon just bees like that. Let me know what you guys thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.